I'm going to explain something that I've never seen covered for OCD and anxiety before, which I think is absolutely vital when you have an understanding of it and how it operates to your own recovery journey. Now, when you're think of OCD like, this alarm system that's very sensitive in a way to being triggered, right? And when you're going about life, it's like hyper zoomed in on that stuff. So, like, maybe if you've got harm OCD, you're walking through a shop, it could just with no fears, and then someone walks past you, maybe a vulnerable person, whatever, it creates that sensation of like maybe you wanted to knock them, right? And it links all that together to more feared scenarios very fast. It's like, think of it like sort of, it's like arms of an octopus kind of reaching out to link into things that are in your surroundings or mental surroundings, very sensitized to that, so it quickly reaches out, and you can subtly experience that and feel that, right, with how sharply that signal is. Now, how sharply refined that signal is. Now, what happens is you may have beliefs like maybe about your family or something, you may be very scared of their rejection. And when you're working on your beliefs, it feels very hard to pull back that sort of arm of an octopus reaching out to grab, right? Because you've believed that all your life and you're so sort of in tune to that. But then as you start to see things differently and your beliefs start changing, that arm of the octopus doesn't go out, because you are sort of like, maybe, oh my God, what if my mum rejects me? Your brain's like, yeah, I can see that. Who cares if she rejects me? I've had her reject me before. So the arm of the octopus doesn't even reach out to latch, to lock in, to create those internal chains that bind us. So what then happens is you're in a state of calm internally, but you're not being jolted into the next latched lock, right? Because the beliefs have changed. Now, if the beliefs aren't changing and you're still very scared of being triggered, or you're very scared of OCD, not just the beliefs, you're very scared of OCD and being triggered. You walk through the supermarket, someone vulnerable walks past, you sort of semi on the fence of I'm feeling better, I'm not. That arm of the octopus is jumping out to latch into that fear straight away. It's still doing that. And then you get frustrated. Why is it still doing that? Because the only thing that signals it not to do that is when your beliefs and your relationship with OCD have changed, right? And it's the components of both. It's like, once I became less scared of OCD, that doesn't mean I recovered, because real life events happened. Like if I suddenly got a bad test result for blood or something at the doctor's, I would suddenly be very scared and then think, oh my God, I'm going to get ill. Even if I couldn't brush that off as an OCD thought, because I'd be like, this is real information. That's what I've been saying all my whole career about like where people don't understand OCD and they're just like, yeah, it's a faulty reaction. Just learn to see it as OCD. It's like, yeah, but okay, the reaction may be faulty. I get that. But when a feared scenario comes along and you can't calm down yourself, even with the faulty reaction happening, you can't bring that back down because you're still too scared of the thing. So every time you're really scared of that thing, and yes, you get more comfortable with uncertainty. Yes, you're able to sit with that better, but it cuts through like a hot knife through butter, turning that signal on. And so until the beliefs change more, then you have that deeper sense of calm, which brings that down and then keeps that octopus arm in. And that's what's key. People don't realize like that. I spent long times with health problems where I was like very comfortable with OCD at the time, very good understanding of mindfulness, and that octopus arm was fully latched on. Like, no, yeah, but you're ill. You're very ill. This is a problem, you know. So we've got to expect that. Okay, we've got to expect that we are along the journey until a much deeper level of acceptance is embodied. You're going to be very anxious, and people without OCD and anxiety, like say in a war zone, if you took measured lots of troops, a lot of them would be like, shit, I'm going to die, and they'd be very worried and be very chronically anxious. And other ones would have accepted, you know what, I've nearly died many times, I'm going to die anyway, and they wouldn't be as anxious because of the difference in beliefs, difference in experience. Like the difference between a troop going into the war or one who's been there for years, not talking about someone who's got PTSD. I'm talking about just a troop that's been in the war, experienced, is going to have a very different perspective of war than when you first start. And you can just zoom that back down to, like, if you just go into paintball and no one tells you what it is, gives you a paintball gun and go out there, and then someone says to you, yeah, if you get shot, it's going to really bloody hurt. The person's going to be like, oh my God. And then if someone says, yeah, you get shot, but it hurts a little bit, but not so much. Oh, that's not so bad, right? Then you get hit, then you have a different belief what it feels like, depending where you've been hit. So all your perspectives are shifting based on experience in life and your perceptions, and beliefs are changing up and down. So there's quite a lot of elements that are going into the shifting of a sort of emotional response in the body. And I think it's vital that we cover that in that depth because, as we know, OCD recovery is misunderstood by most, and they would not go into this depth I'm talking about here. So you don't have that understanding of what's happening with that inner mechanism, that sort of octopus arm reaching out to latch in, then staying very much latched on with all the suckers all around it, holding on. And then as you become less scared, releasing one sucker at a time, bit by bit, the arm unravels and you're feeling free again. And that's very much how the brain works. It's sending out those signals of danger, and they're just sending that electric response, and then that's latching on. And that's very much what's going in. And when it's been latched for a long time, you become convinced that that sort of octopus arm is your fixed state, and that there is no arm there, and that you are in that state forever, and you're in that locked state. But that's because you can't see that what has actually gone out and locked on is just something temporary, but it's stayed chronically because your beliefs haven't changed at this point in time. So yeah, that's one of what we're doing, is getting under that in the one-to-one sessions. We're getting under, looking at uniquely what is causing that to latch, and how can we get that to unlatch, and really targeting that. And that's why OCD recovery has to be targeted, and why a lot of people just struggle on their own so much, because it's very hard to decipher what's going on. Is it inner control? Is it fear of something? Is it fear of a few things? What are my habits like that are forming those behaviors that keep it all fueled? So all those components, and that's what we do. So yeah, if you want to come in for a one-to-one to speak to any of the team about that, so we can help set up a plan to help you with that, we are here. And you can speak to email phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we will get you booked in. Because OCD recovery is one of those things where once you start to get momentum going, you can start to see, I know now how to stop that octopus arm going out and latching all the time. I'm able to stay more balanced, internal peace without getting jolted. And that's what you notice. You're like jolted as you're going along the journey, with huge peaks and troughs and emotional swings. And then that levels out, and levels out. And that's what the recovery journey is, back to restoring baseline inner peace. It's that. And you'll probably realize from what I've just said in these audio clips how that relates to you and how that experience is similar. So you'll get an idea of what's going on there. But just whatever situation you're in, it's going to feel the realest it can get. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a disorder. And it's going to have usually multiple ways of latching and keeping you stuck, because it's very, very in tune and sensitized to what you kind of don't want, and what things you're trying to avoid feelings and sensations too. So yeah, all those components.